In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can change Power Apps form control from that long running scrollable forms to a multi-screen or multi-tab form in very quick time. So sometimes we have requirement where our data source has too many fields in it, and if we just connect the data source to the Power Apps form control, it becomes a long scrollable form, and it is not a good, nice user experience. So what we're going to do, we're going to try to group different fields together and make that enhanced user experience for the end user, so they will see those fields together. They can click next, they can go to the next screen or the next tab of that form control and fill out the information for the next screen and keep going. With all of this, we want to also make sure that we are taking care of the field validations. So if the user is not providing information that is required or not providing the correct information for a given field, we're going to also use the validation for each field in these different tabs. And this is just not for the new app that you will be building. If you already have an app that you have created in the past, and if you like to apply these instructions to that app, you should be able to do it very easily without making a major update to your app. So stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. So before we start, let's take an example of what we are trying to actually do. So if you have watched my previous video on a flyout form, this was the form that we have built last time. If you have not watched, I would highly recommend you to go back and watch that video so you know how to build these flyout form for Power Apps. So if you remember this app, we have created this flyout form. Now if you notice this form, there are so many fields and I need to scroll. And if I add it, again, very same thing. It's not really the great user experience that I'm having right now because I need to scroll. Yes, I can change the column setting for this form control and have two columns and it will be distributed in two columns, but still, so not only from the user experience, but also from the functional point of view, because this is my work progress tracker. And let's say I want the user, when they start editing or creating the new work progress list item, they will just see the information about the work progress, the basic information. Then I want them to go to the next screen where they can provide all the assignments, the due dates. And the next, I want them to go to the screen where they can provide any documentation, right? That's more right grouping of the information. So it will become the nice user experience, also the functional form. So what I changed, so this is what I changed here, and let me go to the updated version of this app. So this is my updated version of the app. As you notice, there is nothing changed from the gallery point of view. But if I click on the item to view the information, now you can see it has changed. It is no more that long scrollable form. Rather, I have the header and I have the next icon here. And once I click on the next, it's going to take me to the next screen or next tab that has all the due dates and assignment. If I click next, then it's going to take me to the attachments or the documents related to this work item. So this is more functionally and from the user experience point of view, much better experience. If I add it, very much I can see all the information together. I don't need to click on this scroll here. I can change the information, go to next. So this is what we're going to see how we can build to an existing app or to a new app, doesn't matter. And also this is not really just for this flyout form. You can take this approach and you can actually use this in your regular form that you're going to just add it to a screen. Okay, so for that, let's go to the powerapps.com. And what we're going to do, we're going to start creating a new app. So app created, nothing in here, of course. So what we're going to do, we're going to start connecting to the data source. So I'm going to connect to SharePoint. So I connected to my SharePoint data source and I'm going to pick the work progress tracker list as a data source. Click connect. So data source has been connected. Now let's make some changes to our app. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to drop a vertical gallery. That's the gallery that's going to present all the item in that work progress tracker list. Okay, so this is the gallery displaying all those different work progress item here. And I'm also going to use, just for the UI, I'm going to drop my component here. That is for the header. Okay, so just to giving a nice UI user experience here. So this is my header here. So okay, so our app is halfway done. We have the gallery that displaying all the item here, and we also have the header. The next thing that we need the form itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the insert and go to the form. You can drop any form because we're going to just control the mode. I'll drop the form here, and we need to connect this form to the data source. So data source is our work progress tracker, and the second thing that we need the item of this form is going to be the gallery what we have dot selected, right? So whichever item selected, that's going to be the default item here. So that is good. Okay, so on click of the item in the gallery, what we're gonna do, we're gonna set a variable that is form mode, right? And we're gonna say form mode dot view. Okay, so what I'm saying, whenever I'm going to click on this one, I want the a variable form mode to be the view, and we're going to use this variable in our form. And if you go to the form, it's a default mode. Click on that, and this is going to be the variable form mode. And why I'm doing it, because I want to control this one form, or I want to use this one form as in view form, new form, and edit form all. Okay, so we're going to do that. The second thing that we need, I'm going to just make this gallery a little bit smaller, because what I need an icon here in the top to add a new item here. So I'm going to use the add icon here. And I also added this rectangle here just to give a nice user experience here. And then we're going to make this white so it's visible, right? And then on this plus icon on select, what we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to set that variable form mode to new form. Okay, so whenever I'm going to click on this plus icon, I want this form to be displayed as the new form. And we also need to reset this form. So we will use reset form and form 1, that's our form. So before creating the new form, let's reset that form. So every field will be reset to default. So that's good. We added that header. Let me change the color of this one a little bit lighter. It's too bright. Okay, so we have, let's run it. Let's see what happened now. So as I'm going to click on these different icons, as you can see, my form has been displayed as a view form. And if I click on the plus, I can see a new form displaying here. Okay, so that part is working as we expected. The next what we need the save and edit also. So I'm going to just copy these two and reuse them here for save and edit. Okay, so on edit button, what we need, we don't need to reset. That's what we don't need. What we need to set the form mode to the edit, and that's the only thing we need. And on save click, I'm gonna just submit this form, right? So submit form, and the form name is form 1. Pretty simple, correct? So this part is done. This is just the basic operations that I wanted to have in the form. So if I click on edit, the form is editable. Let's say I change this to high, click save, it's work, it's done, now it's high. Okay, so that part is done. This is just basic. This is not what we are actually trying to achieve today. What we are trying to achieve today is the grouping, right? Or the multi-screen or multi-tab. Now if you notice, let me change this from 3 column to, let's say, 2 column, right? And maybe 1 column. Now you see here, as I'm changing the column, my form is looking not so great, and it's a lot of scrolling. It's not giving the nice user experience. So for that, this is the first step what we're going to do for creating this multi-screen form. The one thing that you need to define one variable. Okay, very simple variable. You can define that variable on visible of your screen, or you can define on app on start. It doesn't matter that much, right? So app on start, the variable that I'm defining is variable current group and setting it to 1. Now let me give you a little bit of background of this variable. Okay, so it's saying current group is 1. Now let's take example of this form, and what I'm thinking that I want to convert this one single form into 3 set of screens or 3 group, right? My first group is going to be the general details about this work progress item. So the title, description, category, progress, priority. The second group or the second screen that I want is more about who it assigned to, what are the due dates. Okay, so that's my group 2. And the group 3 that I wanted to set is maybe the documentations or the attachments that people are going to associate it with this form. So I have 3 groups that I'm going to work on. So when this app load and user click on any of the item from the gallery, what should happen? I want to display them the group 1. That's where they should start. So that's what we are doing here. We are setting this variable current group to 1. So remember first thing, we're going to start with 1. Now if you want to start with 2, you can just set it to 2. Now how I'm going to use this in my form. Okay, so go to your form control. Okay, and as you can see, form control has different cards here, right? And as I was saying earlier, I'm gonna make the title, description, category, progress, priority as the group 1. So what I need to do, I need to do the Control Shift and select all these different cards that you want to be in your maybe group 1. Okay, the only thing that you're gonna change the visible property of these fields. So right now they are all visible true, right? But what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go to the visible property of these control, and we're gonna type a very quick simple if statement here, or the if logic. If variable current group is equal to 1, then true, else false. Okay, very simple. So what I'm saying, if the current group is 1, then only show these 5 fields because these are in the group 1. Now you may have noticed or understood now, if I go Shift Control and select all of these fields that I want into the second group, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same thing, go to the visual property, and now what I'm going to say, if variable current group equals to 2, then true, else false. So this time what I'm saying, if the group is 2, then only show these set of fields. And the last, we have the attachment, very similar. I'm going to visual property, and if variable current group is equal to 3, then true, else false. Okay, fair enough. False, right? Okay, so now you might be wondering that everything has gone now. No. So because we have just set up this default variable, so we're going to do the run on start, and you can see here. So now all of your group 1 fields are only displaying here because our current group is 1 by default. Now we need to add something here on this screen that can allow our end user to easily navigate from one screen or one tab to another tab, right? So for that, let's start making some UI enhancement here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop a rectangle. I like rectangles. They're so nice for user experience. So I'm going to drop this rectangle here. That's going to be my header for this form. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop 2 icons for next and for the previous, because this is how you're going to move from one screen to other screen. Okay, and then so we have added these next and previous icon. Next, what we're gonna do, we're gonna change the color so they can be visible. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so now we have 2 icons that can allow us to navigate forward or the backward. But we need to set some logic here. Now we need to add logic here that can allow us to set whether we want to move forward, whether we want to move backward, and whether this should be displayed or not. because if you are on the first screen, you don't want the back screen because there's nothing before this first group, right? So the logic is, again, is very simple. So what we're going to do, we're going to use on select, we're going to use a switch function, right? And what we are switching for variable current group. That's the only variable we're going to play with, right? And what we are saying, if my current group value is 2, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to set variable current group to 1. Now you understand what I'm doing here, right? So whenever user gonna click on this back button, of course I cannot be on the first screen and we're gonna do the logic, so it will be hidden. But if I'm on the second screen and if I click on back, it will take me to the first screen. So that's my first case. The second case, if it is 3, if it is on the third screen, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the current group to 2, and that's it. This will take care of my back. Similarly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the forward logic. So for the forward logic, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use switch, again, variable current group. Now if the current group is 1, then what we're going to do, we're going to send it to the second tab. So variable current group to 2, and if it is 2, then we are going to set it to 3. So we are sending it to the third screen, right? So back and forward is done. Now we need to make sure that this icon is not displayed on the first screen, the backward, and the forward or the next page or the next screen icon is not displayed on the last screen. So again, so the logic for this one, if you go to the previous page icon, go to the visible property of this one, and the logic again is very simple. If current group equals to 1, false, and else true. So what's going to do, if we are on the group 1, that means we know we are on the first screen. No, don't show it. Similarly, on this one, on the next page, we're going to go to the visible property and we're going to write the same logic. If variable current group equals to 3, that's your last grouping, right? Then false, else true, right? Okay, let's run it. Let's see what happens. So I go there, I click next, and you can see here now I'm on my second screen. I click next, now I'm on my third screen. I can click back, I can edit. As you can see here, nothing gonna change. You can still do it. Okay, so the form is working as expected, but if you've noticed one thing, when I'm playing this form, I don't know what is my group. Like, there is no title for this group. I can go next, I can see my different fields here, I can make changes, no problem with that. I can click OK, save it, perfectly fine, no issue with that. But it's not telling me the header of my screen. It's not that intuitive yet. So what we're going to do, we're going to drop a label here, right? So this is my label, and the text of this label, again, pretty much based on that one variable that we are playing with. So switch, again, I'm going to use the switch function, variable current group. If the value is 3, then it's the document step, right? If the value is 2, then it's an assignment step. And by default, it's going to be general details. Okay. So now we have the header also ready. Now let's play this app again. So we are on the details tab. I'm going to click next. Now I'm on the assignment tab or screen. I'll click next. Now I'm on my documents screen. I can go back. Now let me show you the validation part. So if I click save right now, and as you can see here saying title is required, you can see the warning on the top. Let me give a title. So let's say this is my title here. I click save again. Now notice nothing happened here. It's not even saved also, and I'll tell you why. If I go next, you see here that the due date is required column, but if I click here, nothing happening. So how we can do the validation? So this is how I'm going to show you how you can actually apply the validation on this approach. So let's go to the form. If you go to the advanced property of any form, you have on success, on reset, and on failure. These are the 3 events that a form gave you when you submit this form, right? So let's say on success, what we want to set the variable mode to view. Okay, so if I submit and every information is correct, the form mode will be view. So on failure, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set a variable. I'm going to say variable error. And if you don't know, every form has, like if I go to form 1, if I click dot, there is a property called error and error kind. The error property is going to give you the actual error that's coming when you are trying to submit the form, right? So I'm setting this variable, so I get the information about the error in this from this one, and I can use this anywhere in my app, right? For example, if you're creating this form not as like one single screen where I have my gallery and the form on the same screen, in some cases you create a separate screen for the form, like you click on the gallery, you navigate to the separate screen. You can actually use this value to pass back to your front screen and you can show the error there. Or what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to use just to keep it simple, we can use this for many other way. I'm going to use the notify function and form1.error. Okay, so now let's run this. And now if I click on save, you can see now error is coming. Right? So we are, even if the error is coming on the next screen, we are actually triggering that error message so user know that there is some field. We can also go further, and if I go to the form control again, on failure, what we can do, we can append our custom message, right? So now when the error is going to throw, we can also have our custom message with it. That's it. This is how easy it is to convert your lengthy form to the nice looking multi-screen or multi-tab or multi-step. It doesn't matter what you call it, but this way you can convert them nice looking form. And this is, as I said earlier, this is just not for the single screen. You can move the form to the separate screen and use the same approach where you can group different controls together and have them looking like this. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, of course. That's where you know when I'm going to create a new video.